Classification of Oriental rugs by geographic origin. Persian. Persian generally have a delicately colored all-over pattern of flowers, vines, or leaves, which start from a center medallion and almost completely cover the background color, soft and delicate colors blending with one another. Types of Persian rugs. Saravan rug is an art from the 19th and 20th centuries. This handmade state-of-the-art rag is usually used as a floor covering, and the design consists of small leaf forms in diagonal rows. The tips of the leaves are pointed in opposite dimensions. Sometimes, the patterns on the field on the rag have the same direction. The borders of Saravan rugs are mostly decorated with hariti pattern or zigzag shapes. The basic colors of these rags are brown, yellow, or salmon color, which tends to stand in its majority. Esfahan heart. Esfahan heart, it is a coarse pile weaving, intricately done, and stately design on claret ground Esfahan using Turkish knot. Rags made by Esfahan village weavers feature a variety of fascinating themes, such as floral designs, gardens full of animals, and intricate medallions. This particular rag was made in the 1960s by village weavers in Esfahan. Hamadan rags. Hamadan rags, it is a camel's hair rag with a coarse weave in light browns, reds, and blues. The wool used in the construction of Hamadan rags is obtained from hardy sheep that graze at high altitudes of the area. This wool is very durable, and the knotting is hardy and robust, both of which lend to the long-lasting quality of these rags. Hamadan rags are typically single-wefted, and most of them have a cotton foundation. One thing common in all Hamadan rags is that they all have symmetric knots and are thickly woven with densities of about 40 to 100 knots per square inch. There is a vast difference in the knotting techniques that are used in the different weaving regions. The majority of Hamadan rags have a geometric pattern. The most common designs that can be seen on most rags from this region consist of the medallion and corner design. Hexagonal-shaped and diamond-shaped medallions are common. Often all over Hirati designs have a narrow field in the shape of a large octagon. Kerman and Kermanshah. Kerman rags are prized for a wide range of designs, a broad palette, use of natural dyes and fibers, great tensile strength and abrasion resistance, and expert color combinations. Typical manufacturing used an asymmetrical knot on cotton foundation, but rare examples include silk or part silk piles. Saruk. Saruk rags are velvet and soft with brightly colored floral sprays scattered across the field. You may or not find medallion motifs in such rags. Bihar. Bihar rag is a hand-woven Oriental rag, woven by Kurdish weavers in Bihar, Iran, or woven in the surrounding villages using time-honored weaving techniques that are particular to this area and tradition. Bihar rags are renowned for their durability, brilliant use of color, and abundance of designs. Bihar rags are often called the iron rags of Iran, for the simple reason they are tightly woven and yet have a tremendous body, thickness, and are extremely hard wearing. Polonese. Polonese carpet is also called Polish carpet. The type of design on this carpet has its roots in the earlier Iranian carpets, but the rich silk pile, highlighted with gold and silver brocading, and muted but lively colors, signal a change from the past. The tightly controlled overall patterns of compartments formed by overlapping car touches in orange, yellow, red, green, and brown on a silver and gold brocaded ground, is adorned by floral and leaf vine systems with palmate motifs. Senna or Senu rag. Senu rag is a hand-woven floor covering made by Kurds who live in or around the town of Sena in western Iran. The pile rags and kilims of Sene are prized for their delicate pattern and coloring and for their fine weaves. Ferahan. Ferahan, usually produced with a small all-over design flowers or conventional forms arrayed in rows. Ferahan rags from the 19th century are finely woven and from the area north of Iraqi city. They are also often called Ferahan saruks. Gabe. Gabe, it is a hand-woven pile rag of coarse quality characterized by an abstract design that relies upon open fields of color and playfulness with geometry. Gabe carpets are much thicker and coarser than other Persian carpets. Gabe items are very basic kind with only limited number of decorative, mostly rectangular objects resembling animals. Gabe usually use bright colors such as yellow and red. Gabe are made of natural hand-spun wool yarn, and all the colors are created with natural plant dye.
Indian. The art of manufacturing carpets was introduced in India, probably by the great Mughal Akbar, which brought in Persian weavers together with skilled pattern artists, mainly for producing Indian carpets for his palace. Indian carpets are overwhelmingly rich with a sheer range of patterns, styles, and designs on their bristle surface. The primary aspect that characterizes Indian rugs is their exclusive, intense palette based on yellow, pink, light blue, and green, and best displayed in the typical bluish red, known as lac red, used only for the grounds of fields. The decoration of Mughal style shows a preference for naturalistic floral designs, which is influenced by the passion for botany of Akbar's son, the Emperor Jahangir, and figural scenes arranged on directional layouts, and the compositions are not elaborate. The most common layouts involve full field distributions using rows or grids, in and out palmets, and prayer rugs. Under the reign of Jahangir's son and successor, Shah Jahan, this style reached full expressive maturity, evident in the perfect realism of its renderings and close attention to detail. The lifelike and floral designs with animal figures, accompanied with the epic hunting scenes on the carpet, have greater vitality than Persian figural carpets, in part because of the symmetrical distribution of their elements, but primarily because of the size and pictorial importance given the figures with respect to the floral ground. The Mughal interpretation of the prayer rugs, a type foreign to Indian religious life, shows the traits characteristic of Mughal style. Although clearly influenced by Persia, Mughal prayer rugs are composed of a highly articulated mihrab, the interior field of which is colored lac red and bears Mughal flowering plants, shown in large size to indicate the realistic transformation of a symbolic tree of life. All Indian rugs are made using the symmetrical knot and stand apart technically because of their particularly dense knotting, well suited to rendering realistic figure details. Antique Indian rugs used an exceptionally intricate weave. After all, they started off as copies of fine Persian rugs. The foundation is usually of cotton and pile wool. In northern regions, the soft and shiny wool of Kashmir is used. Sometimes, silk is used both in the foundation and for the pile. Turkoman. Turkoman rugs were first woven only in Afghanistan, which is where they originated from. They later made their way into Turkey and Persia over the years by Afghan immigrants who brought along with them their handmade rugs and sold them in Turkish and Persian markets. Most Turkmen weavers belong to a tribe called the Erzurum, a prominent ethnic group that consists of several different clans. Each of the clans had their own characteristic motifs which they featured on the rugs that they created to distinguish the rugs of different tribes and clans from one another and Turkmen rugs from other Oriental rugs. Designs and patterns also traditionally vary from village to village. Two of the best known of these motifs are the tek gull, which is a smaller gull pattern, and the elephant's foot, which is a larger octagonal gull. Within these two motifs, there is a wide diversity of Ezari designs. Turkmen rugs are very easy to distinguish because most of them will almost always feature three distinguishing characteristics. The first distinguishing feature is the color of the background, which is typically a distinctive red to reddish-brown color. The second is the rug pattern or layout is predominantly geometric pattern. When the rug is fully laid out on the floor, you will be able to see the entire layout of the gulls on the red or red-brown background. You can also see the individual gulls themselves, which are laid out all over the rug in repeated rows. Color contrast in motifs and in the border is created by using blue, beige, white, and black. The third feature that you will see in all Turkmen rugs is the unique octagonal gull motif in a number of different variations. An interesting aspect regarding the gull variations is that in the earlier rugs, the motifs from each tribe look distinctly different from the others. However, over the years as tribes battled with one another, the uniqueness of the designs was lost as the victorious tribes began incorporating the styles of the tribes that they conquered into their own designs. Another design that is used in Turkmen rugs, though not as frequently as the gull motifs, is the Haçlı design, sometimes also called the Haçlı design. This design can often be seen featured in Turkmen ensi rugs. Ensi rugs were not used to cover floors like other rugs. Instead, these rugs were originally used to cover the door or the entrance of the nomad's den. This design features a large cross that is woven in such a way that it divides the rug's background into 4 sections. Each of these sections, or quadrants, features similar motifs or patterns. Turkmen rugs are constructed using 100% pure wool. This wool is sourced from the famous Karakul sheep. It is this inner fleece that is used to make these rugs.
Caucasian rugs. The antique Caucasian rugs get their name from the area in which they were made, the Caucasus. Caucasian rugs are the best known for featuring bold geometric and tribal designs in primary colors, and most widely collected type of antique rugs, primarily made of materials that are particular to their tribal provinces, and some of the styles that are typical or better known to the Caucasus region are Shifran, Dagestan, Kupa, Kazakh, Sumak, Karachok, and Janjir rugs. Antique Caucasian rugs possess an individuality, boldness, and deep sense of unity. Tribespeople worked in small portable looms and took ancient designs with deep symbolic meanings. The dragon, flowerhead, arabesque, palmet, birds, animals, cloud band, and crop designs are all present. The wool they used was shorn from the sheep, which they themselves had grazed in high mountain pastures. It was then cleaned and washed repeatedly to absorb the vibrant vegetable dyes. What is most striking about Caucasian rugs is its daring use of color. Balance of color is achieved not by shading, but rather through contrast. Turkish rugs, sometimes called Asia Minor, woven in both geometric and floral designs. The vintage Turkish rugs were artistically influential pieces. The designs of Turkish rugs such as the iconic gulls, prayer rugs, and small repeating patterns found on these carpets. Turkish rugs are a major component of the carpet weaving tradition in the Middle East. The Turkish people and related groups from Central Asia introduced the knotted pile carpet to the Islamic world. The largest and oldest collection of early Oriental rugs comes from Turkey. Rug weaving in Anatolia first began with the arrival of the Turkish tribes from Central Asia who settled in this region. Anatolian rugs form a branch of ethnic Turkish rugs. Some of the oldest examples known are the 18 surviving pieces woven by the Seljuk Turks in the 30th century. The motifs of these pieces represented in stylized floral and geometrical patterns in several basic colors. The Turkish prayer rugs with their decorative pillars, angular mihrab, and red ground are regional icons, as are the splendid medallion rugs, fluid Safavid-style arabesque, and angular botanical decorations which are elegant and stylish. Chinese rugs. Chinese rugs are often woven from silk and other materials like wool or cotton, recognizable by their soft ground colors of yellow, blue, rose, salmon red, beige, brown, with Chinese religious symbol design. Dragons, local art, and ornamental objects are almost always a trademark of these productions. Some symbols used have Taoistic and Buddhist religious origins. Finest examples belong the Kangxi and Cheolong era.